Tonight, friends, we begin the Easter Triduum, and tonight is obviously a focus on the Last Supper of Christ with his apostles, that sacred moment in our history where he institutes both the Eucharist and the ministerial priesthood. It's a night, everybody, where the Lord, knowing his fate by death of crucifixion, he must pass on the sanctifying power which he began in his ministry in Galilee. And this he accomplishes by simply offering his own flesh as bread, offering us his own blood as wine. Why? So he can sanctify, make holy, provide healing, and eventually bring together all the scattered children of God. And of course then, folks, in order to do this, he institutes the priesthood, the ministerial priesthood. Men who in their consecration to Jesus Christ offer their very lives as the outpouring of his teaching, his sanctifying actions, and his sacrificial way of living. And friends, this is beautifully symbolized very deeply in this evening's very simple little ritual of washing feet. A beautiful act of devotional service and love of the priest to the souls who are entrusted to him. True servant leadership. In a world, friends, where totalitarian tendencies are rising once again, with the likes of cancel culture, for example, casts away social shame on those who don't conform to whatever the current fad or ideological tendency is in fashion. We're living in a time, folks, where those who have great power are making their authority felt once again, unfortunately. That's not the way of priesthood. That is most certainly not the way for anyone who exercises responsible leadership in the Church of the Lord. The center of ordained priesthood, it lies simply in servantship. The ability of the priest, leader and shepherd, to get down on his knees and bow to the woman or the man who is in front of him as a simple sign of his love and protection of their dignity. In this act, folks, in a few moments, I'm bowing myself before a couple of the men and women who were at the beginning of this year commissioned from this altar to begin leading prayer and liturgical acts of worship here and within our 3 parishes. It's important. You, whose feet I am going to wash in a few moments, you are servants of the faith community here. And it's in washing your feet, I symbolically bow and wash the feet of the people of Springfield, Bellegarde, Fetterkern, Jobstown, Brookfield, and of course to the wider Tala area, as a physical sign of my fidelity and my love for each and every single one of you and those of you watching online. And I'm willing, if necessary, to give my life for you, whether I know you or not. This love, everybody, for others, it comes from kneeling down in front of Christ on the cross. That's where St. John very simply said, it's at the foot of the cross we learn to love. And he's so right. Love, friends, it is not about filling myself up with the things of this world or what I want. It's about self-emptying, which the cross is what it's all about. To will the good of the other person. Folks, that's the vocation to married life. That's the vocation to the priesthood. Servantship of love, everybody. That's the heart of the gospel of Christ. For any vocation in God's church, be it religious, single life, married, or priesthood, all of which comes from the will of Jesus. And this morning, friends, thank God I renewed my priestly promises, which I made on the day of my ordination to Pro Cathedral with Archbishop Farrell this morning and many of my brother priests. And it was through the Archbishop. The Lord was reminding me of the mission that's entrusted to me, to sanctify the people under my spiritual care, to intercede for those who ask me to pray for them, to teach the richness of our apostolic faith, and to make a sacrifice upon this altar and include the other 3 churches in our parishes. Why? For the washing of sin. And it's from that core mission I renew my love for all of you. If I don't seek, friends, your sanctity, if I don't seek to help you grow in holiness or virtue, then I am not doing what I've been asked to do. That's why prayer is at the heart, folks, of authentic pastoral care. Prayer, friends, for those of us who really engage in prayer, you notice what it does to you. It orientates one's gaze to heaven, but also exercises a change in our hearts of a way of life, to love others more and more, to be a new people, to cast off the shackles of ego and self-obsessiveness. That's why, friends, there is an unfortunate temptation for many priests today to understand their mission to build a more just and better society. That's your job. That's your job. Otherwise, if a priest goes down that route, it simply becomes a political slogan and not a mission of faith. Pope Francis last year was really harsh and critical on priests who consistently give in to the ways of the world. And he says they're nothing more than clericalized pagans. That's no joke. He's right. He's 100% correct. Strong words. A priest, friends, must always have his mind orientated towards heaven, yet have his feet firmly planted on this good earth. Because an overemphasis on either way either just risks religious fundamentalism or political egotism, both of which are far removed from servant leadership of Christ and his gospel. This night is like no other. It's the start of something important. The drama of the Last Supper is where both the shroud of darkness, evil, as we see in our gospel, and hatred, it begins to collide now with humility, with love and servantship, and it doesn't know what to do with it. Evil, folks, if you notice in our gospel, it seems to be gaining the upper hand. And what happens when this failure of what started in Galilee now seems imminent? What does the Lord do? What a most simple and extraordinary act. When all hope seems to fade, Jesus tells the apostles of his impending arrest and death. What does he do? He transforms fear, he transforms despair and confusion into hope that it doesn't have the final say in our lives. He transforms the act of death into a hope-giving new life for all those who follow him, to self-give to other person. This is my body, he says. Take it, eat it. The Eucharist, everybody, is the ultimate outpouring of Jesus for you and for me. That God Almighty, in his glorious and truly terrifying power as creator of existence itself, he bows so low as to present himself to each and every one of us in a tiny piece of bread, as a tiny piece of bread. Why? That we can enter into full communion with the Lord. The mystery, the immense humility, friends, of that loving act is very hard to comprehend what God has truly done for each and every one of us. The awe of his love is truly something. Friends, if you struggle to believe that the Eucharist is the Lord's flesh, remember, with God, anything is possible. When Jesus says, "This is my body, take it and eat it," he who himself is truth, he can't lie. Simple as that. This is not symbolic, but true, real, and the fullness of his body and blood offered for you and me to consume at every Mass. Why? So that his life-giving presence be offered to you and me. To sanctify us, give us life to the full, fuel our growth in virtue and holiness, literally to pull us all into heaven is what this is about. And as a priest, everybody, when I say the words, "This is my body, this is my blood," that is not Bill. That's not me. How dare a priest even consider that is the priest himself saying those words? How dare my ego or my sinful pride make me think that those words empower me in some shape or form? Absolutely not. It cannot be me, only Jesus. That moment, folks, in the altar, Christ is truly present. That's why the wise Pope Benedict XVI once said, "It's in this sacrament all of us enjoy the hospitality of God, who gives himself to us in Jesus Christ." The priesthood, the Eucharist, there's not one without the other. Please pray for me, friends. Pray for Father Jerry, for Father Martin, Father Colin, and Father Michael, who said yes to the Lord's call to priesthood, who at this time are exercising their leadership and servant leadership in these parishes, none of which can obviously be carried out without your support, your prayer, and your love, more importantly. And please pray for vocations. And that's why I'm calling for any of them watching here tonight, for men to step forward to the priesthood, to take up that call of leadership in the church and offer the hope of the gospel, feed the Lord's people with his own body, teach the liberating apostolic faith and tradition, and to do so with compassion and love. Pump the hope of the resurrection of Christ afresh into our very tired and cynical culture. To be a priest is a life less ordinary, because to follow Jesus is a life less ordinary. So friends, watch the sacred actions this night and in the coming days. Listen to the prayers of the church and know that Christ is close to all of you, offering his life and his hope. Please take it.